Tonight, our special transmission as the number of Israeli soldiers seeking psychological support has surged sixfold since October 7th. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. Today is the 292nd day since the onset of Israel's war. In the past 24 hours, at least 84 Palestinians have been killed in Khan Yunis. 329 have been injured. This comes as Israel has launched a new ground invasion in Khan Yunis. The Palestinian Health Ministry reports a series of airstrikes in northern Gaza resulting in at least 15 deaths. Residential areas, including homes of the Daya and Al-Jamasi families, have been hit. Casualties include children and women. In the West Bank, a major Israeli raid on Tulkarem refugee camp has resulted in 5 deaths. During the raid, Israel forces destroyed homes and infrastructure. Medics were prevented from reaching injured individuals. The Israeli army has taken 4 of the dead bodies. A Jewish-American surgeon is accusing Israeli snipers of targeting Palestinian children with precise shots. Israel's war has killed 39,090 Palestinians. A study published in July in the British medical journal The Lancet estimates around 186,000 deaths in Gaza. Israel's death toll from Hamas's attack stands at 1,139. Israel faces accusations of genocide at the International Court of Justice. The court has ordered Israel to immediately halt its operations in the city of Rafah. The Saudi Defense Ministry has denied any involvement or cooperation with Israel to strike Hudaydah port in Yemen. A report by Israeli Army Radio alleges Israel used Saudi airspace for a significant portion of the operation. The report says Saudi Arabia had been informed in advance and that the kingdom permitted Israeli warplanes to pass through. Coordination between the two nations included aerial refueling and low-altitude flights to evade radar. Saudi defense spokesperson Brigadier General Turki al-Maliki, however, has denied any such involvement. He says Saudi Arabia did not participate in the attack and would not permit its airspace to be breached. The U.S. also denies any involvement. The strikes resulted in 6 deaths and 83 injuries. Israel says the attack is retaliation to a Houthi drone strike on Tel Aviv. Palestine's 2 major political factions, Fatah movement and Hamas, have signed a joint declaration in China's capital, Beijing, today. The 3-day dialogue is aimed to build unity and end a decades-long rift between the two parties. Fatah rules the West Bank part, while Hamas rules the Gaza Strip. Fatah leader Abdel Fattah Dawla says the party is committed to overcoming obstacles to reconciliation. Fatah's Central Committee member Azam al-Ahmad says the group is open to resolving the division. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi calls the agreement a historic moment for the cause of Palestine's liberation. Previous attempts in Moscow, Turkey, Algeria, and Egypt did not succeed in achieving lasting reconciliation. Since 2007, political discord between Fatah and Hamas has divided the West Bank and Gaza Strip. The number of Israeli soldiers seeking psychological support has surged sixfold since the onset of Israel's brutal campaign in Gaza. A recent report from the Israeli media Haaretz shows a dramatic increase in distress calls to the Ministry for Military Affairs helpline. This rise in calls has come from settlers, reservists, active soldiers, and their families. In April, the Israeli Mental Health Association reported a staggering 950% increase in Israelis seeking psychological support since the beginning of war. Just last week, the hotline had to handle 4 calls with suicidal undertones. The association that runs the helpline says between October 2022 and June 2023, the police were contacted 35 times due to potential suicidal cases. A year later, the number increased to 86. This is a 145% increase. The data further reveals a six-fold increase in nighttime requests for help in recent weeks. This comes as Israeli authorities have announced the number of disabled soldiers surpassing the 70,000 mark. On June 7th, Israeli soldier Eliran Mizrahi took his own life after being called back to war. Israel has established a committee to address the increasing mental health and psychological needs of its soldiers. A Bloomberg report earlier this year reveals that the increasing number of injuries among Israeli soldiers is generating invisible costs for the Israeli campaign in Gaza. The Israel Prison Service has started transferring 140 Palestinian prisoners from the Sde Teiman detention facility near Be'er Sheva. This relocation comes in response to a high court petition by the Association of Civil Rights in Israel. The petition cites reports of severe abuse at the facility. In the past few days, 50 prisoners have been moved to Ketziot prison in the Negev desert. Another 50 have been relocated this past Sunday. The final 40 have been transferred today. Allegations of mistreatment include beatings, poor hygiene, and inadequate medical care. Reports indicate 35 detainees have died due to mistreatment. The Israel Prison Service denies allegations of abuse. However, multiple testimonies from former detainees describe horrifying abuse. Media investigations, including a report by CNN Network, highlights the mistreatment of detainees. The Israeli Supreme Court is reviewing calls for the facility's closure. Israeli officials plan to transfer prisoners to military-run facilities in the West Bank. Vice President Kamala Harris will not preside over Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's joint address to Congress. Harris is reportedly engaged in presidential campaign activities. Senator Ben Cardin will oversee tomorrow's session. Cardin is a staunch supporter of Israel. Initially, Senator Patty Murray was invited to preside, but she declined. Murray's office has not provided a reason. Netanyahu's visit includes separate meetings with Biden and possibly former President Donald Trump. Experts say the visit is a strategic move to solidify bipartisan support for Israel before a potential change in U.S. leadership. Critics suggest Netanyahu's visit might be less impactful than anticipated due to domestic and international pressures to end the war. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is poised to carry forward President Joe Biden's foreign policy if she wins this year's presidential race. Harris has received significant endorsements, including Biden's support. She is a leading candidate against Republican nominee Donald Trump. On global issues, Harris aligns with Biden's stance. She supports Israel's right to self-defense. Regarding Ukraine, she continues backing its resistance against Russian aggression. Harris's approach towards China focuses on countering its influence in Asia and supporting Taiwan. Her views on India reflect a shift from criticism to partnership. It aligns with Biden's strategy to strengthen the U.S.-India relations amidst shared concerns over China's growing influence. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a nonprofit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.